I'm Lucy.
And we're here to talk movies.
We sure are.
Today we're going to be discussing Deadpool, the very first one.
We sure are.
So,
do you have any questions for the watcher?
So, I mean, of course, I've seen all three of the Deadpool movies myself. I also have seen X-Men Origins Wolverine, where Wade Wilson is first introduced on the screen, as played by Ryan Reynolds, who's taking the character into his new trilogy. So, what did you think of the movie? I know you don't like superhero movies ever, so...
I liked it.
Nice.
Jay did it.
I'll cut out the Jeremy.
Yeah. I found a superhero movie that I like. Congratulations.
Nice. What about it was something you liked?
I thought it was really funny. I loved his quick wit. And I feel like, as I was watching it, that Deadpool could definitely be a superhero movie to introduce people who, like me, who are really not into superhero movies. Well, because he even says this isn't a superhero movie. And because it has the comedy, and it has... I think he's an anti-hero for sure.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the idea of the character, yeah.
And yeah, it actually held my interest. I didn't feel like there was too much stuff that I needed to know prior to watching it. Like, it was funny, but the only thing that I did find disturbing was there was a lot of gore. I wasn't prepared for the gore, and I'm quite squeamish, so that just kept on coming, but I also think that is definitely part of it being a more adult movie.
Yeah, I mean, Deadpool is definitely intended to be an R-rated thing. Like, I've never read the comics, I've been curious to check them out, but...
I am too now.
As I've understood, I think there's a lot of swearing and violent images in those comics as well. I know with the second Deadpool movie they released what was called Once Upon a Deadpool, which was a PG-13 version of the second one. And then the joke of it was, I don't know if you're familiar with Princess Bride.
I am familiar with it, but I actually haven't seen it yet.
Wow.
Yeah, you have to pick that for one of ours, because I really do want to watch it.
Or you could pick it sometime too.
So we both get, or you already know that one though.
Yeah. But anyways, like the whole story is Fred Savage as a child is having this story read to him by his grandfather when he's sick, and then the story is being read. You have Carrie Elways and Robin Wright on screen playing out the characters, and it's just a lot of fun. I first watched it as a slumber party, a birthday party thing, and I wasn't sure what to think, but it turned out to be a lot of fun. Rob Reiner directed it, and he knows what he's doing. Like, he's had a lot of great movies. So Deadpool, Once Upon a Deadpool is like, the joke is Fred Savage is there reading the story to Deadpool. I think is sick. I've actually not seen it. I'm curious to check it out, but I think you have to buy that one. I don't know if it's ever been available streaming. But one of the big reasons I wanted to pick this movie was a couple weeks ago we talked about Iron Man, which really only I had much to say about it. She pretty much hated it. But I liked them both because they were both approached as very low budget, like didn't have much more budget than they really needed. And like as I said, X-Men Origins Wolverine was the first movie to feature Wade Wilson as played by Ryan Reynolds. And in that one, you see Ryan Reynolds in pretty boy mode, like he's the standard, like nice head of hair, pretty face and everything. Whereas for Deadpool, this one, suddenly you're seeing, and they also technically have Deadpool at the end of that X-Men Origins Wolverine, but it's like a different kind of, I think it's probably meant to be the original version, like if you read the comics, maybe that's the very first form that Deadpool takes, and then over time they adjusted it in different iterations of the comics, like in many other comic characters, they over time will adjust what the character story is or how they present themselves visually. So, but I also think as I've read, they didn't even have Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool at the end of X-Men Origins Wolverine. It was actually a stuntman named Scott Adkins, as far as I know. I think they were running out of money, and so they wanted a cheaper person to bring in for that. And then I know that Ryan Reynolds wanted to do that role because I think he said that he really had read the comics and identified with the character quite a bit. And then there's expectation that from doing that movie, they'd go off and make a Deadpool movie. But I think because Wolverine, that first one, wasn't well received, the studio balked at the idea of doing a Deadpool movie. Although they did make test footage, and like the freeway part where he jumped from the bridge and ends up in the RV or Jeep or whatever, you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like smacking his head into the radio and stuff. That actually was like the test footage they had shot, but they like decided not to do it. And then Ryan Reynolds, I guess, co-conspired with somebody at Fox to get it leaked. So it got leaked, and I think people saw it, like the fans saw it, and were like, it actually looks cool. So then suddenly it was like, okay, let's try and do this. And
That's pretty smart of him.
yeah, I mean, it's something he really wanted to do as a passion project, and so it was just like, you know what, I'm not going to let you take this away from me, especially because they had this footage, and just leaking it isn't like going to cost millions of dollars, unless they get sued, but I don't think Fox is going to sue them over that, but I don't even know if they had any evidence to sue them or anything. But
Mm-hmm.
so they got that leaked, and then suddenly the fans were like, this looks cool, I wouldn't mind seeing a full movie. So then I think it was, they said, okay, fine, we'll give you the movie, but I think they said Reynolds took a huge pay cut for it, and then what little money he did make, he actually paid to have the writers on set as they were shooting it to allow them to change things up, maybe improvise, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I know, so like it was done with a very tight budget, which in a way is a smart idea because then you don't have to worry about the executives looking over your shoulder the whole time, because it's like, if it flops, didn't cost a whole lot anyways, and if it does well, then it's a huge profit margin. But yeah, it ended up being a huge hit, wide release, and it came out around Valentine's Day that year, I believe, and fans really embraced it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Reynolds has said that he even approached this new one, Deadpool and Wolverine, the kind of same way, where it's like, let's not take any more money for the budget than we absolutely need, because doing it on a tighter budget gives you somewhat more freedom, because then you don't have to worry about the executives or whoever else constantly on your case that, oh, is this going to play well, is that going to play well? You just kind of get to do the movie that you think should be made. And if you're a fan of it, odds are the other fans will appreciate what you're doing, because they'll recognize that, yeah, you made something we all wanted to see. And so I think Reynolds has been very respectful of the character, and I think that's why the fans have responded well and the movies have been successful. Like this newest one is over $1 billion already. It's like the top grossing R-rated movie of all time, and who knows how far it'll go by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just think that, like, that's a really cool idea though, is like, you know, big stars getting stuff made the way they want to, and then just accepting that, yeah, I might make less money up front, but in the long run it'll work out better, and then I'll succeed and have something that I can be proud of later on. But, and then, you know, by now it's a little flawed because T.J. Miller's had his legal issues and been Me Too'd, so it's kind of weird watching him in there, and he also appears in the second one, but they didn't have him back for the third one. But yeah, I think ultimately it's a well done movie, and I don't know if Reynolds had his production company up and running when he made this, but throughout the movie, if you remember, he says maximum effort.
Yeah.
That's the name of Reynolds' production company.
And he also made a joke about himself.
Oh
I
yeah.
remember. It's just
Yeah, the scene where he's like got the baby hand, and then he's like, "Oh come on, you think so and so like has a career because they're talented? It's because they're pretty." You know, Ryan Reynolds wouldn't be anywhere if he wasn't pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like the jokes with Hugh Jackman, like he's got that Sexiest Man Alive People magazine cover at one moment.
Yes.
Then he staples Hugh Jackman's picture to his own face, because like, I don't look good anymore, so let's go with this guy.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to comment?
Let me think. You've given me a few things to think about here, because, you know, where that made my mind go is Ryan Reynolds has been getting a lot of flack recently, but not because of Deadpool, but more because of It Ends With Us, and the fact that he wrote one of these scenes, and there's a lot of drama between the cast of that movie and the director. And
who was also part of the cast.
cast, yes. Justin Baldoni. So yeah, it's interesting to hear that, you know, Ryan Reynolds is also, you know, I've just heard like not so great things about him recently. So yeah, it's interesting to hear these facts about how he wants to do the movie even though like there wasn't a big budget for it or anything.
I think it's that whole idea of the passion for the character, as I said, and wanting to get a movie made, and because they didn't have to worry about appeasing a studio from a huge budget. They had the luxury and leeway to make the movie they wanted to make. And if it flopped, you know, the studio would probably be like, see, it didn't work, but if it did well, then the studio would be happy, and they'd have a bigger budget for the next movies and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, like, I had read too that, I guess, I don't want to talk too much about It Ends With Us, because we're trying to talk about Deadpool.
Yes.
But I did read that there's a whole thing where Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds' wife, who stars in It Ends With Us, wasn't happy with the script. She felt there was something missing, so they wrote this early act scene where she meets her future husband's character on the roof of this apartment building. And apparently Justin Baldoni, who plays the future husband, and he directed the movie. He wasn't happy with the scene, but he went along with it. Yeah. And I don't know that it was a bad scene. I think it helped the movie. But I think too there can be that sense of like, no, I disagree that this scene should be here. And I mean, I think in any movie there's always going to be the arguments over what fits and what doesn't. And if you feel like somebody's coming along and forcing something with a movie that, as you know, if you're the one who kind of got the thing up and running, you don't want them coming in and adjusting things. But I think it's always going to happen, and you know, and then there's always going to be the stories of like somebody who seems like the sweetest person ever, and then you do hear stories of like, oh, they can be a nightmare to deal with. But I think oftentimes to me the trick of learning if a person's a nightmare to work with, or if it's all just trying to create drama with people, is do they tend to work with some of the same people multiple times, or if you notice like they never seem to have the same co-stars or producer, director on anything. It's always new people, because there's that sense of the people who have worked with that person are just sick of dealing with them. So I think that oftentimes can be a reflection of how easy somebody is to work with or difficult.
Mm-hmm. Back on the topic of Deadpool.
Yes.
I think that even though it was like, you know, very, very comedy centric, it did tackle like a few important themes, I thought.
Oh, okay.
Most notably, in my opinion, being the element of Ryan Reynolds' appearance changing, and spoiler alert, go now if you don't want the spoiler, but he still gets the girl, even though his face is like mutilated. Yeah,
because I mean, I'm sure most people have watched the movie. I mean, if you're learning about the movie from us, I mean, I'm surprised by that, but it's cool. But yeah, like, in order to, basically, it starts with him finding out he's got cancer in all these different parts of his body, and then he wants to unleash his mutant ability, and then they basically deprive him of oxygen, and then that messes up his skin and makes him look disfigured.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, and I think that, as I say, that's kind of an interesting comparison to in X-Men Origins Wolverine, where, you know, at the beginning of that one, he does look like the kind of standard pretty boy look, and then this one, like, he's not ugly at the beginning, but he definitely has like a look that's not like supermodel, like Sexiest Man Alive presentation, which I thought was interesting. Like, he looks like somebody who's kind of been through the ringer. He's called Merc with the mouth, the mercenary with the mouth, so he looks like somebody who has been in combat situations, been kind of beaten up and scarred. But yeah, I thought, he definitely goes along with the idea of like, I'm more than just a good-looking guy. Like, I want to be seen as a true artist, and I don't care about my looks. Like, Because, I mean, even at the beginning of the movie, how does it introduce him? Do you remember it? Like the opening credits or titles are very
Like
tongue-in-cheek.
when they're doing the words.
Yeah.
I forget.
It's like starring God's Perfect Idiot, and then and it's like People magazine cover of him being named Sexy Small.
Yes, yeah.
So it's
I
like
remember that.
Ryan Reynolds is perfectly, I mean, yes, he's in great shape, but he's also perfectly, and he's obviously arguably attractive guy, but he just doesn't look at it as like, oh, it's all about me being attractive. It's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm an artist and I want to create the best project that I can, because I think that's the thing too is, you know, when they were putting together this first Deadpool movie, I want to say he almost was like the creator of modern movie marketing in a way, where he was constantly posting to Instagram and whatnot, like, we're in the writer's room working on the script, and we're doing this, we're doing that, and it was like a sense of, I'm not resting on my laurels as like I'm this good-looking, sexy guy. I'm putting in the work with these people, and we're doing what we can to make the movie we think it should be. And the fans responded well, which proves that, yeah, if you do the work, don't worry about yourself, you're going to have a good product generally. May not always work out, but hopefully it will.
I also was really invested in the movie because I love a good love story, and I thought him and the girl had great chemistry.
Oh, yes.
Like, I was totally rooting for it, so that also kept me interested. That's honestly, okay, I know this is just me, maybe there's some people out there who agree, but if something has good elements of comedy and romance and then another genre, so like, I'm like a fan of comedy, horror, romance, or it could be comedy, horror, action. Like, I feel like if it has that good balance, it's more appealing to wider audiences, me, and I think that just constitutes a really good movie, and that is why this is one of the very few superhero movies that I like.
Yeah, I think it, you know, definitely tries to bring in, like, I think they said with Deadpool Wolverine, Reynolds commented like it's a 4-quadrant movie because it really can appeal to a wide swath of people. And
Yeah.
I think there is that element in his mind too of, you know, put in like, you know, make as many elements to the movie appealing to as wide an audience as possible, and you'll have a bigger success because then it becomes, you know, people want to see a romance, there's romance in it. People want to go see action, there's action in it. Somebody who wants to see like
Gore.
intense action, there's intense action in it. And I mean, like, Reynolds has 9-year-old daughter. I don't think she was actually in the outfit, but she said one of the lines in Deadpool and Wolverine, and even admitted he watched that movie with his 70-year-old mother and 9-year-old daughter, and he talked about it as a kid. When he was around 9, his parents started letting him watch R-rated movies, and it influenced how he saw what filmmaking could be and how it'd be creative, because, you know, R-rated doesn't really pull punches, it's more intense.
Yeah.
And another thing too is, I thought it was interesting how they show all these love scenes at the beginning, like actual sex scenes where they're more or less naked and doing whatnot. And anymore, I feel like you rarely get that in a Hollywood movie, like actors actually like doing sex scenes or getting naked. Like, they didn't show it too graphically, but you saw more than you tend to do, I think, in any movie nowadays, even if it's R-rated. Because I think I read an article once that it was like what happened to R-rated movies, where like it used to be like you'd see like the big star, like especially with women, like showing off their chest at least, maybe their butt. But you know, guys might show off their butt once in a while. But anymore with R-rated movies, you rarely see any like taking off the clothes. Not to say that's necessary, but it is always amusing when you watch a movie with a sex scene and they got their underwear on or are still pretty much fully clothed, and it's like, you know, I'm not an expert on how people approach sex, but I don't think too many people keep their clothes on for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that Deadpool also had those really funny, like, nudity jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when one of her, we'll probably get censored if I call them what they are. One of her
boobies?
Yeah.
I don't know.
One of them is out. And then the guy, I don't remember his name, but he's made of iron.
Oh, okay.
His hand, he's like covering his eyes, and so the camera follows his hand, so you don't see. And they're fighting, but he gives her a moment to just stuff it back in. I thought that was pretty funny, and like when Ryan Reynolds gets shot in the butt.
Yeah.
Like, I think those kind of jokes definitely made the movie pretty funny.
Well, I also thought it was amusing too, like early on in the sex scene where like they keep going through different holidays and their different approaches to it, and then they get
Yes.
to International Women's Day, so it's him taking it up the butt from a prosthetic dildo. I mean, you might get in trouble for that comment too, but just pointing out what happens in the movie, and I just thought that was an amusing part too, where it's like he's willing to go there to be respectful.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that humor was definitely really funny. You must be pretty satisfied that you found a Marvel movie that I like.
I mean, I got the sense you might appreciate just because you seemed excited about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also, I would say open your mind a little bit to some of the other ones, because just because you don't like Iron Man doesn't mean that there aren't some other ones out there you might appreciate.
We'll see.
I'm saying, I would just say, you know what? Watch each one at least once.
Each one?
I know that they're all 2 hours long, but you never know what you're going to watch and realize, that was surprisingly good. Because I mean, I gotta believe there have been movies you've seen in your life where you're like, I gotta watch this thing, and then you come away like, that was surprisingly good. Like, you are surprisingly shocked that you like Deadpool. So it's not impossible that you could appreciate something else.
It's true.
I mean, some of them definitely you need to have watched other ones to appreciate what's happening. That's why I say just give each one a watch. I mean, I know you've got a busy schedule, but
You're gonna knock these off one by one, is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm not gonna make you watch all of them.
Okay.
I might make you watch a couple more, but it's tough because obviously you haven't seen some of them, and it's tough to discuss something that's built up from other things.
Yeah.
It's almost like saying, like, watch the season ender of this TV show where there's all this stuff happening, and then you have no idea why things happen the way they did.
You know what I would watch? Ant-Man.
Ant-Man's good.
I love Paul Rudd.
I love Paul Rudd as well.
So, if you want to just slip that one in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have the next selection,
Yes.
but yeah, we can do an Ant-Man eventually. My attitude is, like, I like the first two, the third one was weaker, and then of course
Was that Ant-Man and the Wasp?
No, Ant-Man and the Lost Quantumania is the third one. That's one that has Jonathan Majors, who got in trouble for domestic violence, and he got dropped by the studio.
Okay.
But it was a weird, awkward movie, I would say. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie, but it could have been a better story to it, I would say. And I mean, I love Paul Rudd and all of them, and I think they make good movies, but that one I think was kind of a disappointment in my opinion. And then supposedly they're doing a fourth one, but who knows when that's going to be coming out.
I've actually, I've seen the first Ant-Man once, but that was when it came out, and that was in what, like?
2015.
Okay, I was gonna say 2016, yeah, 2015. So like, I barely remember it, but I remember being like, hey, this is enjoyable.
Yeah.
I've also seen Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that's another good one too. The first one and the third one are good.
I like
Second one is kind of weak, but again, I think the story approach was not quite there.
But also, okay, I have another thought. Well, not really. It's a pun I've been wanting to make for like 3 days. Okay.
Okay, I'm listening.
Deadpool was a stark departure from Iron Man. Thank you.
But no, I mean, as I say, one of the primary reasons I wanted to watch this one after Iron Man is they were both filmed kind of the same way, where it was, I think, very guerrilla style in a way that didn't have huge budgets. Like, obviously Ryan Reynolds went into Deadpool, a bigger star than Robert Downey Jr. went into Iron Man. even though Downey Jr. had years of, I mean, he was an Oscar nominee way back when, and he had quite a lot of successful, he's a great actor, but he's better known for being a substance abuse person than actually acting in big movies. And, you know, Ryan Reynolds, I think he was having some struggles, but he still managed to eke out some good stuff anyways. And he's in it, like, before Deadpool, he was in Green Lantern, which they do a joke about in Deadpool. I know you haven't seen Green Lantern,
Yeah,
so
I
you
wouldn't
get to
know.
but it is when he's going in, he's like, please don't give me a green suit, please don't make it a cartoon. You remember that scene?
Yes!
That's a reference to Green Lantern, which
Ah.
was like, he made it back in 2011 or something, and it was not well received at all. It's actually where he met his now wife Blake Lively, because she played his love interest in the movie. I guess they didn't start dating during that movie, but they became good friends. And then, yeah, it is not well received, and even in Deadpool 2, they do a joke where he, like, Deadpool shoots Ryan Reynolds as he's reading the Green Lantern script, like, yeah, we can all agree this movie was not good, kind of thing, but...
Interesting, because that's one of the ones I'm more open to watching.
What's that?
Green Lantern. But
I mean,
I knew more about Green Lantern when I was like a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know too much about Green Lantern, I just watched the movie because it was Ryan Reynolds, and the director had done some other stuff that was really good, so that was kind of strange that that one was so bad. But if you've seen 1978 Superman, they do too many references to that that just seem cheesy and whatnot. But
Interesting. Okay, see, there are ones that I'm willing to watch.
yeah,
But it's just the ones he suggests that I usually don't like.
everybody's always, I feel like so many people are like that. Well, if Jeremy likes it, I would like it. It's like, or Jay, I guess. But I mean, I think I've noticed that when a movie really gets crapped on, I tend to think it's not really that bad. People just
Yeah.
want to attack it. And sometimes there are movies where everybody's like, that was the most mind-blowingly good thing I've ever seen, and I'll be like, was it really?
Like
I don't
Over
think
the
it's a
Hedge.
terrible movie. Yeah, Over the Hedge is crap, and you don't know what you're talking about. But no, I enjoyed Over the Hedge. I don't think it was a great story, but it wasn't a terrible movie. I could rewatch it.
Okay.
But no, Wes Anderson. Eventually, I feel like she's gonna make me suffer through Wes Anderson stuff. But
I don't know if I'm that cruel because I know he really hates Wes Anderson.
I'll put it this way: I like the casts he assembles, but I've rarely seen a movie of his where I'm like, that was pretty good. I mean, Darjeeling Limited up till like last 20 minutes I enjoyed, and then I just seemed to fall apart. Haven't seen Grand Budapest Hotel yet, so maybe
I
I
haven't
like
seen
that one.
that either.
Supposedly that's the most accessible of his movies.
Yeah.
I watched Asteroid City, and it's just like,
You didn't like it?
it just felt too much like Get Over Yourself.
Okay. That's a fair criticism, but Fantastic Mr. Fox is pretty good.
I did watch it. I didn't mind it too much. I think I need to rewatch it once. But as I say, like, he can assemble a cast of actors that are great, and like you'd think any other movie, I'd probably be like, this is great because of these actors. With him, it just always ends up being like, you're just so full of your own sense of what's funny.
Yeah.
And it just can be so frustrating.
I will say, not to get too off the topic of Deadpool,
Yeah.
but I will agree about Asteroid City. Like, I was a really big fan of, like, you know, the cinematography and like the animation of the aliens and the cast and stuff. But the deadpan delivery felt very like, oh, look how artsy I am. Like, all my stuff is just funny. And, yeah.
Well, it's like his brand is quirky as its own genre kind of thing. And it just, I mean, I saw Rushmore again a while back and I didn't mind it as much, but I just feel like you really have to want to watch these movies and appreciate what kind of filmmaker he is to appreciate these movies. But I don't want to go off on too much tangent about other things since we're here to discuss Deadpool. But
For sure.
yeah.
I wanted to ask you, you know, aside from the budget and stuff, like, just looking at like the content of the movie, what's your favorite thing about Deadpool?
Not sure what I would say. I think just like the performances in general, like,
Yeah.
and just, you know, the whole idea that Ryan Reynolds trying to prove that like it's not about me, I'm just trying to make a good movie, I have a passion for this project, and I want it to succeed. I'm not worried that like, if it flopped, he would have made pretty much no money from it.
Mm-hmm.
So he was just focused on like, I just want to make the movie I think it should be. And I think if you're a fan of something and you make a movie that's respectful of what it should be, that other fans will be like, yep, you did it right. Because that's the other thing with it is it's R-rated, and generally the attitude is R-rated superhero movies can't succeed. Because I think that was about the first R-rated superhero movie that's ever been successful. And then
Oh,
by
really?
now, hello everyone, it's Lucy and Jay again. Here doing another movie talk. We're actually picking up from last week. I know this might be a little jarring for you because we're wearing different clothes and different seats and whatnot, but the battery ran out last time, so we couldn't actually finish what we were doing last time. So I think we ended on discussing the fact that Deadpool was an R-rated comic book movie that proved R-rated comic book movies could be successful. And from that, a year later, I think it was, we got Logan, which was an R-rated Wolverine movie, and that was very successful. In fact, I think fans kind of agreed that that's the best Wolverine solo movie, and probably among the best, almost maybe the best X-Men movie they had made. And, this past August we've had Borderlands, which is based on an R-rated video game, but I think the studio got scared and decided to make it a PG-13 movie, and then audiences just kind of stayed away because I think they were disappointed that it was only PG-13, because turning something that's R-rated into a PG-13 story on the big screen is probably not a good idea, especially like imagine if you turned a book, like I think there's the book After, which is very 50 Shades-ish. I've never read the book, but one of my former coworkers has, and she was saying like, I don't know why they made it PG-13 as a movie, because the people who know this book absolutely do not want to see a PG-13 adaptation, and it flopped. Then they ended up putting the rest of it on Netflix. But yes, generally, I think if an audience wants to see something that's R-rated, it'll do pretty well because you're giving the people what they want. Borderlands flopped because it's PG-13, and I think that turned off people. In fact, I remember a guy even walking out of it after like 20 minutes. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Not that I can think of. There's a heat advisory, so my head's not in the right place, but that's interesting, for sure.
Okay. And then I was also going to ask you, they threw on a fun little end credit sequence for Deadpool. What did you think of that?
I thought it was funny. Honestly, it felt like something I had seen before.
Well, I would hope you've seen it, because it's very much referencing a major 80s movie.
Well, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, yes.
I was worried you wouldn't recognize it. I'm like, if you didn't recognize it, it'd be like, wow, bad parenting.
Exactly. Yeah, no, my parents made sure I know all the John Hughes movies, all the best ones. But yeah, when that person comes out and they're like, you're still here? Why are you still here? Like, I feel like I've seen that in other movies. And I thought it was funny and fitting for the end of Deadpool. And I was reading the comments on YouTube, and it said like, oh, referencing Ferris Bueller's Day Off is like a perfect way to end a Deadpool movie. So yeah, I thought it was a nice little tactic in how they mentioned like, oh yeah, there's not going to be a second movie. We don't have the budget for that and stuff like that.
Well, he wasn't saying there won't be a second movie. He was saying like, you're still here. Oh, you're expecting to see an extra little scene where like Sam Jackson as Nick Fury comes in with his hot little leather number and invites me to join the Avengers or something. Well, we don't have that kind of budget. And then it alludes to, we are going to have a sequel, but it's going to have Cable in it. And it might be like Keira Knightley playing Cable, which is funny because Cable's like a big kind of muscular dude in the comics.
Oh.
So putting Keira Knightley in that role would have been like, I mean, as he says, she's got range, but I think I don't know if she could have pulled that one off without it coming across as too silly. But,
I didn't know what Cable was.
well, sometime you'll watch the second one and you'll know all about Cable.
Oh, okay.
But, no, the other funny thing about that end credit scene is Feige had nothing to do with making the first Deadpool movie. I don't think the second one either, but he has said, like, I read a profile on him once where he's talked about having end credit scenes as a kid, like you'd watch movies like Ferris Bueller and be like, oh, that's so neat, they like suddenly threw on this scene at the very end of the credits. And I think there's been a few John Hughes movies that have done that too. Like I know Planes, Trains, and Automobiles had a brief one as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a whole sense of, it keeps people in the chairs in the theater because then it becomes, oh, is there a good reason to stay? Like maybe we should stay through the ending credits. And that, you know, people who worked hard on the movie get their due and whatnot. I mean, I know some people are all about looking at the names on the end credits and then, you know, commenting if they think a name sounds funny. And I mean, sometimes people do have some unique names. But, yeah, I think it kind of, it all builds together to make a more unique experience. I don't know if you've ever watched, I mean, this will allude to next week's episode, but if you ever watched any of the Naked Gun or Airplane movies.
Mm.
But they, during the ending credits, would always throw in like jokes with like the jobs to be done or hot shots. They had like random jokes in there too, which it almost is a genius idea for like those kind of films because you're gonna want to watch the credits to see the jokes, and then you might catch names too. But yeah, I think end credit scenes are fun. Usually dramas don't really do them, but oftentimes comedies will have them. So sometimes it gets to be a fun little reason to stick around. I guess, anything else for you to add on Deadpool?
No, not that I can think of.
Yeah, she's just baked by the heat today because it's pretty much a sauna outside
The
today.
yeah, the heat gave me a headache, so.
So I think the next one she'll have more to say, I hope, because it was her pick.
Yes, I will. I will.
So I guess I'll say thanks for watching again, and hope to see you next time.
Yes.
See you later.